The great space station called Nexus Prime floated in the dark between stars. It was huge, bigger than most moons. Ships from 12 different alien races docked at its many ports. Today was an important day. The Galactic Council was meeting to talk about a problem that worried everyone. Kang Dae-ho walked through the long hallways of the station. He was Earth's main speaker for all alien meetings. His assistant, Park Yoon-ji, walked beside him. She carried a small tablet computer and took notes about everything they saw. The meeting room was enormous. It had 12 sections, one for each alien race. The humans had the smallest section. Only 3 people sat there. Most other races brought dozens of representatives. Veltar stood up first. He was from the Hegemony, a group of planets that liked to control other worlds. His skin was purple and his eyes were completely black. When he spoke, his voice sounded like grinding metal. "We are here to discuss the Earth problem," Veltar said. His words echoed in the big room. "For 200 years we have watched the humans. They claim to be peaceful now, but we all know what they were like before." Murmurs filled the room. Many aliens nodded their heads. They remembered the old stories about humans. Before first contact, humans had fought terrible wars on their own planet. They had weapons that could destroy entire cities. They had killed millions of their own kind. Commander Zixthul stood up next. He looked like a giant bird with sharp teeth. His feathers were black and red. "We have been watching Earth for many years," he said. "Their military is very small. They have almost no spaceships with weapons. Their cities have no shields. It makes no sense." Dae-ho listened quietly. He did not look worried. Sometimes he wrote notes on his paper. Yoon-ji used her tablet to record everything the alien said. Admiral Korvex hit the table with his arm. His body looked like a giant insect. His shell was green and covered with spikes. "Where did all their fighting spirit go?" he asked loudly. "Humans were warriors. They conquered their whole planet through war. Now they say they only want peace. How can we believe this?" Other aliens started talking at the same time. Their voices mixed together in a loud noise. Some spoke in languages that sounded like music. Others made sounds like machines breaking. "Maybe they are hiding their real weapons," said Captain Morgak. He was small, but his voice was very deep. His face had tentacles instead of a nose. "Maybe they want us to think they are weak. Or maybe they really did become peaceful," said War Chief Brektor. He laughed when he said this. His laugh sounded like rocks falling down a mountain. But that would make them perfect targets for conquest. More aliens joined the discussion. They all said similar things. Earth looked easy to attack. Earth had good resources. Earth's location was perfect for controlling trade routes. But something felt wrong about the whole situation. Dr. Nextril was different from the others. She looked almost human except her skin was blue and she had 4 arms. "I have studied human history," she said. "They did not just stop fighting. They stopped fighting very suddenly. In only 50 years, they went from global war to complete peace. This is not normal for any species." The room became quiet. Everyone thought about what she said. Dae-ho finally stood up. All eyes turned to him. He was not very tall, and he looked ordinary compared to the aliens around him. He wore a simple blue suit. His black hair was neat and short. "Thank you for your concerns about my people," Dae-ho said. His voice was calm and friendly. "We understand why you might be confused. Yes, humans used to fight wars. Yes, we used to have big armies and powerful weapons, but we learned that fighting only brings pain and destruction." "You expect us to believe that?" Admiral Korvex said. His insect eyes glowed red with anger. "A species does not just stop being aggressive. It is impossible." Dae-ho smiled. "Nothing is impossible. We simply chose a different path. We decided that peace was better than war. We decided that building was better than destroying. We decided that learning was better than fighting." Veltar made a sound like laughing, but scarier. "And what happens when someone decides to attack your peaceful worlds? What happens when someone with weapons comes to take what you have built?" "That has not happened yet," Dae-ho said. "Perhaps it never will." The aliens looked at each other. They could not understand this answer. In their experience, the strong always attacked the weak. It was the way of the universe. But Earth had been weak for 200 years and no one had attacked it. Commander Zixthul spread his wings wide. "We have reports from traders and explorers. They say strange things about human space. Ships that go near human worlds sometimes have problems with their weapons. Sometimes their engines stop working for no reason." "What do you know about this?" Yoon-ji looked up from her tablet. She was young and wore glasses. Her long black hair was tied back in a simple style. Equipment can be unreliable in space, she said. There are many things that can cause technical problems. Solar radiation, magnetic fields, quantum fluctuations. Convenient excuses, said War Chief Brektor. Too convenient. The meeting continued for hours. The aliens asked many questions. They wanted to know about Earth's defenses. They wanted to know about human technology. They wanted to know how humans really thought. Daeho and Yoonji answered every question. Their answers were always polite and honest. But they never gave information that would help someone plan an attack. As the day went on, the aliens became more frustrated. They could not understand how humans had survived so long without strong defenses. Every other peaceful species in the galaxy had been conquered or enslaved. Perhaps, said Dr. Nextrel thoughtfully, we are asking the wrong questions. Instead of asking how humans survive without weapons, maybe we should ask why no one has tried to attack them. The room became very quiet again. This was a good question. Earth was rich and seemed defenseless. Many criminal groups looked for exactly this kind of target, but none of them had ever tried to attack human worlds. Fear, said Admiral Korvex. They must be afraid of something. But what? Daeho gathered his papers. Gentlemen and ladies, he said, this has been a very interesting discussion. If you have more questions, you are always welcome to visit Earth. We would be happy to show you our worlds and our way of life. The aliens watched as the three humans left the meeting room. They walked calmly like people going home after a normal day at work. When the humans were gone, the aliens started talking again. But now their voices were quieter, more worried. Something is wrong here, Veltar said. No species acts like this. No species survives like this. Maybe we should test them, suggested War Chief Brektor. A small raid on one of their outer colonies. Nothing too big. Just to see what happens. The other aliens thought about this idea. A test would answer many questions. If humans really were defenseless, they would ask for help. If humans had hidden weapons, they would reveal them. Who would do this test? Asked Commander Zixthul. Brektor smiled. His teeth were yellow and sharp. My people are always ready for action. We could visit one of their farming worlds. Just a small visit. The meeting ended with no official decisions, but everyone knew what would happen next. Someone would test the humans. Someone would find out the truth about Earth's defenses. In their ship, Daeho and Yoonji talked quietly. They are planning something, Yoonji said. I know, Daeho replied. Should we warn Earth Command? They already know. They have been watching this meeting too. Daeho looked out the window at the stars. I hope our visitors are ready for what they will find. Yoonji typed something on her tablet. They never are, she said softly. Their ship turned toward home, leaving the aliens to plan their test. Neither human looked worried about what was coming. They had seen this before. Other races had tried to test humanity. None of them ever tried twice. 3 months passed after the big meeting at Nexus Prime. War Chief Brektor had been thinking about the humans every day. His people, the Skarnathi, were known across the galaxy as raiders and slave traders. They took what they wanted from weaker species. Brektor stood on the bridge of his warship, the Bloodfang. Around him, his crew prepared for their mission. They were going to test the humans. They would attack one small human colony and see what happened. How many ships? Asked Captain Morgak. He was Brektor's best warrior. His tentacle face moved when he spoke like small snakes dancing. Just 5 ships, Brektor said. We do not want to start a war. We just want to see how humans fight back. The target was Kepler 442b, a farming world in human space. According to their information, about 10,000 humans lived there. They grew food and sent it to other human worlds. The planet had no military base and no weapons platforms in orbit. Dr. Lee Jiwoo sat in her laboratory on Luna Research Station. Luna was Earth's moon, but humans had built a big science center there. Jiwoo watched the deep space sensors every day. It was her job to look for anything unusual. Today she found something very unusual. 5 alien ships were moving toward Kepler 442b. The ships had weapons and shields. They were definitely not peaceful traders. Jiwoo picked up her communication device. She called General Nam Hyunwoo at Earth Defense Command. The general was an older man with gray hair and kind eyes. Sir, we have visitors, Jiwoo said. Her voice was calm, like she was talking about the weather. 5 ships, probably Skarnathi. They are heading for Kepler 442b. General Nam looked at his computer screen. He could see the same information that Jiwoo was seeing. Estimated arrival time? About 6 hours, Jiwoo replied. Thank you, Doctor. We will handle this. General Nam sent a message to the colony on Kepler 442b. But it was not a warning. It was just information. He told them that visitors were coming and to be polite. On Kepler 442b, Kim Tae-sung was working in his fields. He was a farmer about 40 years old. His hands were dirty from working with the soil. His clothes were simple and practical. He grew vegetables that tasted better than anything found on most other worlds. Tae-sung's farm was near the colony's main town. About 2,000 people lived in the town. They had shops, schools, and small factories. Everything was peaceful and quiet. The alarm system in town made a soft sound. It was not the scary noise used for emergencies. It was the gentle sound used for announcements. Attention, everyone, said a voice from the speakers. We will have visitors today. Please be welcoming and helpful. People in the town smiled when they heard this. They liked having visitors. Visitors brought news from other worlds and interesting stories. Oh Min-seo was picking fruit from her trees when she heard the announcement. She was a young woman with short black hair and a friendly face. She decided to pick extra fruit in case the visitors were hungry. The Skarnathi ships arrived exactly when Dr. Jiwoo had predicted. They came down through the atmosphere like falling stars. Their engines made loud noises and left trails of fire in the sky. War Chief Brektor was in the first ship to land. He expected to see humans running in fear. He expected to see them hiding in buildings or calling for help. Instead, he saw Kim Tae-sung continue working in his field. The human looked up at the alien ships, waved his hand in a friendly way, then went back to his farming. What is he doing? Asked Captain Morgak. I do not know, Brektor replied. Maybe he is too stupid to be afraid. The Skarnathi soldiers came out of their ships. They wore heavy armor and carried energy weapons. Each soldier was bigger and stronger than any human. Their weapons could kill a person instantly. Brektor led his warriors to Tae-sung's field. The human was digging in the soil with a simple tool. He looked up when the aliens approached. Hello, Tae-sung said. He smiled like he was meeting old friends. Welcome to our world. You must be tired after your long journey. Would you like some water? Brektor could not believe what he was hearing. This human was offering help to armed invaders. We are here to conquer this colony, he said loudly. Surrender now or face destruction. Tae-sung looked confused. Conquer? Why would you want to do that? This is just a farming world. We grow vegetables. Is there something specific you need? Maybe we can help you. The war chief became angry. He pointed his weapon at the human. I will show you what happens to those who do not surrender. He fired his energy weapon directly at Tae-sung. The bright energy beam shot out from the weapon. But something strange happened. The beam seemed to bend and twist in the air. It curved around Tae-sung like water flowing around a rock. The energy disappeared harmlessly into the ground. Brektor stared at his weapon. He checked all the settings. Everything looked normal. He fired again. The same thing happened. The energy beam would not hit the human. Is your weapon broken? Tae-sung asked. He sounded concerned, like he wanted to help fix the problem. Technology can be tricky sometimes. My neighbor Min-seo is good with machines. Maybe she can help. As if she had heard her name, Min-seo came walking over from her fruit trees. She carried a basket full of colorful fruits and vegetables. She smiled at the aliens like they were welcome guests. Hello, everyone, she said cheerfully. I brought some food in case you are hungry. Travel rations can be boring and fresh fruit is much better for you. Captain Morgak tried to grab her with his clawed hands. He wanted to take her as a prisoner. But his claws passed right through her body like she was made of light or air. He tried again and again, but he could not touch her. Min-seo did not seem to notice what he was trying to do. She kept offering fruit to the confused aliens. These are very sweet, she said, holding up a red fruit. And these green ones are good for your digestion. More Skarnathi soldiers arrived. They tried to use their weapons on both humans. Every shot missed or curved away. They tried to grab the humans with their hands. No one could touch them. Tae-sung looked worried about the aliens. You all seem very upset, he said. Are you feeling sick? Sometimes long space travel can make people feel bad. Min-seo, do you have any medicine? Of course, Min-seo replied. She reached into her basket and pulled out some small leaves. Chew these if your stomach hurts. And drink lots of water. The Skarnathi warriors began to feel afraid. They had conquered dozens of worlds. They had fought many different alien species. But they had never seen anything like this. Other humans started coming from the town. They walked slowly, like people going to a festival. They brought food, drinks, and blankets. Some carried musical instruments. "Are you having a celebration?" asked an old human man named Park Do-yun. "We love celebrations. Can we join?" "This is not a celebration," Brektor shouted. "This is an invasion. We are here to take your world and make you our slaves." Park Do-yun looked puzzled. "Slaves? Why would you want slaves? Slavery is terrible. People should be free to choose their own lives. Besides, we have machines that do most of our hard work." A human woman named Yoon Hae-won started setting up a table near Tai-sung's field. She put food and drinks on it. "Everyone must be hungry after traveling so far," she said. "Please sit down and eat something." The Skarnathi soldiers did not know what to do. Their weapons did not work. They could not capture any humans. And the humans kept trying to feed them and make them comfortable. War Chief Brektor tried one more time to show his power. He ordered his ships to fire on the town. The ship's main weapons were much more powerful than the small guns his soldiers carried. The weapons fired. Huge beams of energy shot down from the ships toward the human buildings, but the same thing happened. The energy beams bent and twisted in the air. They curved away from the town and hit empty fields instead. The weapons fire burned some grass and made some smoke. The humans looked up at the sky with interest. "Pretty lights," said a small human child. "Are you making fireworks for us?" The child's mother, Lee Soo-jin, gently took the child's hand. "Remember to say thank you when someone does something nice for you," she told the child. "Thank you for the fireworks." The child called out to the alien ships. Brektor felt something he had never felt before in battle. He felt completely helpless. Nothing his people tried had any effect on the humans, but the humans were not fighting back. They were not even acting like they were in danger. Captain Morgak came close to his leader. "War Chief, what are your orders?" Brektor looked around. His soldiers stood near the human feast table. Some of them were actually eating the food the humans had offered. The humans were talking to them like old friends, asking questions about their homeworlds and their travels. "We leave," Brektor said quietly. "We leave now?" "But sir, we have not conquered anything." "We cannot conquer what we cannot touch," Brektor replied. "And I do not understand what is happening here." The Skarnathi soldiers returned to their ships. The humans waved goodbye and told them to visit again soon. Some humans packed extra food for the aliens to take with them. As the ships lifted off, Tai-sung called out to them. "Safe travels. Come back anytime. You are always welcome here." In his ship, Brektor sat in his command chair. He stared out the window at the peaceful human colony below. His warriors were quiet. None of them could explain what had happened. The news about the failed Skarnathi raid spread through the galaxy like fire through dry grass. Information broker Velnix sold the story to anyone willing to pay. He had contacts everywhere, and this story was worth a lot of money. Velnix was a strange creature. His body looked like a walking tree with too many arms. His face had dozens of small eyes that could look in different directions at the same time. He never left his ship, but he knew everything that happened in known space. Impossible weapons failure, Velnix told his customers. Entire raid force helpless against human farmers. Warriors could not touch humans. Humans offered food and medical care to attackers. Different alien races reacted differently to this news. Some laughed and said the Skarnathi had grown weak. Others became more curious about human abilities. The most dangerous reaction came from the Korthak Empire. The Korthak were masters of mental warfare. They could read minds, control thoughts, and drive enemies insane without ever firing a weapon. Their leaders decided that humans must have some kind of mental defense system. Mind Ripper Zergoth was the Empire's best mental warrior. His job was to break the minds of enemies and steal their secrets. He had never failed a mission in over 50 years. Zergoth looked like a giant brain with arms and legs. His skin was wet and gray. His eyes glowed red when he used his powers. The Empire sent him to find a human ship and test their mental defenses. Captain Choi Sang-min commanded a human transport ship called the Peaceful Trader. His ship carried supplies between human colonies. He had a crew of 12 people, all ordinary humans doing ordinary jobs. Sang-min was a calm man in his 40s. He had black hair starting to turn gray. He liked to read books and listen to music while his ship traveled through space. He had been a ship captain for 15 years and had never been in a fight. Engineer Jang Hee-jin worked in the ship's engine room. She was young and very smart. She could fix anything mechanical and understood computers better than most people. She always hummed songs while she worked. The peaceful trader was traveling through empty space when Zurgoth's ship found them. The alien ship was much bigger and had powerful weapons. It looked like a metal skull floating in the darkness. "Human vessel, prepare to be boarded," came the message from the alien ship. Sang-min looked at his communication officer, Park Gildong. "Are they pirates?" he asked. "Unknown, Captain," Gildong replied. "Their ship design matches no known criminal groups." "Well, let's see what they want," Sang-min said. He opened a communication channel. "This is Captain Choi Sang-min of the Peaceful Trader. How can we help you today?" Zurgoth was surprised by this response. Most ships tried to run or fight when they saw his vessel. "I am coming aboard your ship," he announced. "Do not resist." "Of course," Sang-min replied. "Docking Bay 2 is open. Would you like us to prepare any refreshments?" This confused Zurgoth even more. He transported directly onto the human ship using his advanced technology. He appeared in the middle of the bridge in a flash of green light. The human crew looked at him with interest but no fear. Engineer Jang Hee-jin came up from the engine room to see the visitor. "Wow," she said. "That's impressive technology. How does the molecular transport work? Do you use quantum tunneling or something else?" Zurgoth ignored her question. He focused his mental powers on Captain Sang-min. He tried to read the human's thoughts and take control of his mind. But instead of entering Sang-min's consciousness, Zurgoth found himself somewhere completely different. He was standing in what looked like a huge library. The shelves went up so high he could not see the ceiling. Books filled every shelf, more books than existed on most planets. A woman appeared beside him. She looked human, with long black hair and glasses. She wore a simple dress and carried a book under her arm. "Hello," she said with a warm smile. "Welcome to the library. I am Yoon So-young, the librarian here. Are you looking for anything specific?" Zurgoth tried to use his powers to destroy this mental illusion. He sent waves of psychic force toward the woman. But nothing happened. She just stood there, still smiling. "You seem agitated," So-young said. "Perhaps you would like something to help you relax? I have some excellent books about meditation and anger management." She walked to a nearby shelf and pulled out a thick book. The title read, "Coping with Anger, a Guide for Telepathic Species." This book was written by a very wise Vulcarian philosopher, So-young explained. He used to have problems with rage just like you, but he learned to find peace through understanding. Zurgoth tried to tear apart this mental space with his most powerful attacks. He focused all his energy on destroying the library and everything in it. But the books just sat peacefully on their shelves. The librarian continued to look helpful and concerned. "Reading can be very therapeutic," So-young continued. "Would you like me to recommend something? What subjects interest you?" Meanwhile, back on the ship, Engineer Jang Hee-jin was still asking questions about the alien's technology. She seemed completely unaware that a mental battle was happening just a few meters away. "Your transport system must use incredible amounts of energy," she said. "How do you prevent quantum decoherence during the transfer? And what about the uncertainty principle?" Zurgoth tried to shift his attack to the engineer. Maybe she would be easier to control than the captain. He withdrew from Sang-min's mind and focused on Hee-jin. Instantly, he found himself in a completely different place. This time he was in a workshop filled with machines and tools. Everything was clean and organized. Soft music played from speakers somewhere. Jang Hee-jin was there, but this version of her was working on a complex piece of machinery. She looked up when she saw him. "Oh, hello," she said cheerfully. "Are you interested in engineering?" "This is a quantum flux regulator. It helps maintain stable energy flow in hyperdrive engines." Zurgoth launched his most devastating mental attacks at her. He tried to fill her mind with terror and pain. He tried to break her sanity and steal her memories, but she just continued working on her machine. "You know, negative emotions can really interfere with precise work," she said. "When I feel stressed, I like to listen to music and focus on solving problems. It helps clear the mind." She picked up a complex tool and started adjusting something inside the machine. "Would you like to learn how this works?" Understanding how things function can be very calming. Zurgoth realized he was trapped. Every time he attacked one human's mind, he found himself in some kind of peaceful mental space, and the humans just wanted to help him learn things or feel better. He tried attacking multiple minds at once. He reached out to every human on the ship with his psychic powers. But instead of chaos and fear, he found himself in 12 different peaceful places at the same time. One human crew member, Cook Nam Byung-ho, welcomed him to a mental kitchen and offered to teach him how to make soup. Another crew member, Navigator Hong Yun-kyung, showed him star maps and explained how she calculated safe routes through space. Communications Officer Park Gildong wanted to discuss linguistics and how different species developed language. Medical Officer Dr. Song Young-mi offered to examine him and make sure he was healthy. Every human mind he touched was like a different room in a vast house of learning and kindness. No matter how hard he attacked, the humans just wanted to share knowledge and offer help. Finally, Zurgoth gave up. He withdrew all his mental powers and stood on the bridge, breathing heavily. The humans looked at him with concern. "Are you feeling all right?" Captain Sang-mian asked. "You look tired. Would you like to sit down?" "Maybe he has a headache," suggested Engineer Hee-jin. "Dr. Song, do you have anything that might help?" Dr. Song Young-mi came forward with a small device. "This is a neural relaxation scanner," she said. "It can help with stress and mental fatigue. Would you like me to run a quick scan?" Zurgoth could not understand what was happening. He was supposed to be the one in control. He was supposed to be reading their minds and stealing their secrets. Instead, they were trying to take care of him. "What are you?" he asked in confusion. "We are just people," Sang-min replied. "We transport goods between colonies and try to help anyone we meet along the way." "What are you looking for? Maybe we can help you find it." Zurgoth looked around at the human faces. They all looked genuinely concerned about his well-being. No one seemed afraid even though he had just tried to attack their minds. "I was sent to test your mental defenses," he said honestly. "Oh," said Hee-jin. "How did we do?" This question was so unexpected that Zurgoth almost laughed. "I could not harm any of you. I could not read your thoughts. I could not control your minds." "That's good," said Dr. Song. "Mental attacks can cause serious damage. I'm glad you are all protected, but how?" Zurgoth asked. "What technology do you use?" The humans looked at each other. They seemed confused by the question. "We don't use any special technology," Sang-min said. "We just think our thoughts and live our lives. Is there something unusual about that?" Zurgoth realized he had learned nothing useful about human defenses. But he had learned something else. These humans existed in a way he did not understand. Their minds worked differently than any other species he had encountered. "I must go," he said finally. "Already?" asked Hee-jin. "Are you sure you don't want to stay for dinner? Nam Byung-ho makes excellent noodles." War Marshal Crixtal was known throughout the galaxy as the most dangerous military leader alive. He commanded the Dominion of Thorns, an empire that had conquered hundreds of worlds. His species looked like walking suits of black armor with burning red eyes. Crixtal had been following the reports about humans for months. First, the Scarnathi raiders failed completely. Then the Korthak Mind Warrior came back confused and defeated. Now other alien races were whispering about the human mystery. "Enough of these small tests," Crixtal declared to his war council. "We will settle this question once and for all. Prepare the Grand Fleet." The Grand Fleet was the largest military force ever assembled by any single species. Over 10,000 warships, each one capable of destroying a moon. Millions of soldiers, thousands of different weapon types, and enough firepower to crack a planet in half. "Sir," asked General Vexkara, "are you certain we need such a large force for one small species?" Crixtal's red eyes glowed brighter. "Small species do not survive for 200 years without any defenses. There is something we do not understand about humans. I want enough power to handle any surprise they might have." On Earth, President Shin Bo-ra was having her morning coffee in her office. She was a woman in her 50s with gray hair and kind eyes. She had been elected president because people trusted her to make good decisions. Her chief of staff, Park Young-ho, came into the office with his daily report. He was a tall man who always dressed neatly and spoke carefully. "Madam President," he said calmly, "our deep space sensors have detected a large alien fleet approaching the solar system. Estimated size over 10,000 ships." Bora took another sip of her coffee. "How long until they arrive?" "Approximately 18 hours, Young-ho replied. "Do we know what they want?" "Based on their formation and approach vector, it appears to be an invasion fleet." Bora nodded thoughtfully. Well, that's interesting. It has been a while since anyone tried something this big. Should we activate the response protocol? Young-ho checked his tablet. The Defense Council recommends waiting to see their intentions first. No point in causing unnecessary alarm. I agree, Bo-Ra said. Let me know when they get closer. And please ask the kitchen to prepare extra food. If these visitors are hungry after their long journey, we should be good hosts. The Dominion fleet arrived in Earth's solar system like a metal storm. Ships filled the space around Earth's moon, their weapons charged and ready, their soldiers prepared for battle. War Marshal Krixtal stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Iron Throne. Through the windows, he could see Earth floating peacefully below. Cities glowed with light. Ships moved calmly between planets. Everything looked completely normal. Scan for defensive positions, he ordered. Sir, we detect no weapons platforms, no military bases, no shield generators, reported his sensor officer. The planet appears completely undefended. Krixtal frowned. This made no sense. Even the most peaceful species had some kind of defense against invasion. Send a message to the planet, he commanded. Demand their immediate surrender. On Earth, Ambassador Jung Min-kyung received the message at the Global Communications Center. She was a young woman who specialized in first contact situations. She had met hundreds of different alien species and always tried to find peaceful solutions. The message from Krixtal was simple. People of Earth, you are surrounded by the grand fleet of the Dominion of Thorns. Surrender immediately or face total destruction. Min-kyung smiled and sent back a reply. Welcome to our solar system, honored visitors. We would be delighted to meet with you. Would you like to come down for dinner? We have prepared a feast in your honor. When Krixtal received this message, he could not believe what he was hearing. He played it again to make sure he had understood correctly. They are inviting us to dinner, he told his officers. Perhaps it is a trap, sir, suggested General Vexkera. 10,000 ships against one defenseless planet. And they want to feed us, Krixtal said slowly. Either they are insane or we are missing something very important. He decided to land his armies on every continent of Earth. If humans had any hidden weapons or defenses, this would force them to reveal everything. The invasion began at dawn. Dropships fell from the sky like metal rain. Soldiers in advanced armor landed in every major city on Earth. They carried weapons that could level buildings and vehicles that could crush any resistance. But there was no resistance to crush. Teacher Lim Aran was conducting her morning class when alien soldiers burst through the school doors. The children looked up with curiosity as the armored figures entered their classroom. Oh, hello, Aran said cheerfully. Children, we have visitors. Can everyone say hello to our new friends? Hello. The children called out in unison, waving at the confused soldiers. One small boy, Kim Tae-ho, raised his hand. Teacher, are they here to learn about Earth? Can I show them my drawing of our solar system? The Dominion soldiers did not know how to respond. They had conquered many worlds, but no one had ever asked them to look at children's artwork before. In another part of the city, Dr. Seo Jun-ho continued his surgery even as alien troops surrounded the hospital. The soldiers burst into the operating room expecting to take hostages. Please be quiet, Jun-ho said without looking up from his patient. Surgery requires concentration. If you need medical attention, the nurses at the front desk can help you. The soldiers tried to grab him, but their hands passed through his body like he was made of mist. They tried to smash the medical equipment, but their weapons would not function properly. Nurse Kwon Mi-young brought the aliens some chairs. You look tired, she said kindly. Please sit down and rest. When the doctor finishes surgery, he can examine any injuries you might have. On a farm outside the city, Kwon Dong-wook was harvesting vegetables when a squadron of alien aircraft landed in his field. Armed troops poured out of the vehicles ready for battle. Perfect timing, Dong-wook called out to them. I could use some help with the harvest. These vegetables need to be picked today, or they will be overripe. The aliens tried to arrest him, but they could not touch him. They tried to destroy his crops, but their weapons misfired or shut down completely. Dong-wook's wife, Park Sun-hee, came out of their house carrying a large basket. I brought lunch for everyone, she announced. Hard work makes people hungry, and you all look like you have been working very hard. All across Earth, the same scene repeated itself. Alien soldiers landed expecting conquest and found humans who wanted to help them, feed them, and learn about their cultures. War Marshal Krickstull watched the reports from his flagship with growing confusion and anger. His soldiers could not capture a single human. Their weapons would not work properly. And worst of all, the humans kept trying to be nice to them. How is this possible? He demanded. His science officer, Dr. Nextroll, had been studying the sensor readings. Sir, I am detecting unusual energy patterns around the humans. It appears they exist partially in normal space and partially in somewhere else. What does that mean? I am not certain, sir, but it might explain why our weapons cannot affect them and why we cannot touch them. Krickstull decided to go down to the planet himself. He landed his personal shuttle in the center of Earth's capital city. Thousands of humans gathered to see him, but not because they were afraid. They seemed genuinely excited to meet him. A woman approached his shuttle as he emerged. She was middle-aged with short gray hair and wore simple clothes. "Welcome to Earth," she said with a warm smile. "I am President Shinbora. We are honored by your visit." Krickstull pointed his personal weapon at her. It was the most advanced weapon in his arsenal, capable of destroying a building. "I am here to conquer your world," he announced loudly. "That sounds very difficult," Bora replied. "Would you like some help? We have excellent maps and travel guides. Or perhaps you are tired from your journey. We have prepared rooms for you and your people." Krickstull fired his weapon directly at her. The energy beam curved around her body and hit the ground harmlessly. She did not even seem to notice. "Your weapon appears to be malfunctioning," she said with concern. "Our engineers are very good with technology. They might be able to fix it for you." More humans gathered around them. They brought food, drinks, blankets, and musical instruments. Someone started playing soft music. Children offered flowers to the alien soldiers. Chef Bang Woojin wheeled out a cart full of food. "I prepared dishes from many different worlds," he said proudly. "I was not sure what your people like to eat, so I made a little of everything." Student Kim Na-young approached Krickstull with a book in her hands. "I have been studying alien cultures for school," she said excitedly. "Could you tell me about your homeworld? What kind of art do your people create?" Krickstull felt something he had never experienced before. He was the most feared warrior in the galaxy, leading the largest invasion fleet ever assembled. But he could not harm even one human child, and that child wanted to learn about his culture. Dr. Han Ye-jin, a xenobiologist, examined some of the alien soldiers with great interest. "Fascinating biology," she said to her colleagues. "The armor appears to be partially organic. And look at these energy patterns in their neural systems." She turned to Krickstull. "I would love to study your technology, but it seems to stop working around us. How inconvenient for you." Galactic Intelligence Director Vex Mirren had spent 6 months studying every report about humans. He was a being of pure thought, existing inside a mechanical body. His mind could process information faster than any biological brain. And what he had learned about humans terrified him. Vex Mirren called an emergency meeting of the Galactic Council. Representatives from 12 alien species gathered at Nexus Prime, just as they had 1 year ago. But this time the mood was very different. "Fellow beings," Vex Mirren announced, "I have solved the mystery of human defenses. What I'm about to tell you will change how we understand life itself." The council chamber was completely silent. Everyone remembered the failed invasions, the Skarnathi raid, the Korthak mind attack, and most shocking of all, the defeat of Krickstull's grand fleet. 10,000 warships had been turned into a dinner party. War Marshal Krickstull sat in his section, still confused by what had happened on Earth. Beside him, War Chief Brektor nodded grimly. Both warriors had learned that humans could not be conquered by force. "The humans are not defenseless," Vex Mirren continued. "They are the most defended species in the galaxy. But their defenses work in a way none of us understood." From the human section, anthropologist No Sunmi listened carefully. She was taking notes for her research on aggressive alien behavioral patterns in post-scarcity societies. She found alien psychology fascinating. No way. Sunmi was a young woman with long black hair and curious eyes. She had been studying alien cultures for years, trying to understand why some species chose violence over cooperation. After analyzing hundreds of encounters, Vex Mirren said, "I have discovered the truth. Humans have evolved beyond normal space-time. They exist partially in our dimension and partially in something else." Murmurs filled the chamber. This sounded like science fiction, even to species with advanced technology. Admiral Corvex clicked his insect claws together nervously. What does that mean exactly? It means, Vexmiran explained, that when humans are threatened, they unconsciously shift into a dimensional state where violence cannot reach them. Their consciousness operates on quantum levels that redirect aggressive energy into harmless activities. He activated a holographic display showing brain scans and energy readings. Look at these patterns. When weapons are fired at humans, their collective unconscious mind bends reality around them. The weapons miss, malfunction, or simply stop working. Mind Ripper Zergoth spoke up from his section. I experienced this myself. When I tried to attack their minds, I found myself in peaceful mental spaces where they offered to teach me things. Exactly, Vexmiran said. Human consciousness has evolved to transform aggression into social interaction. They cannot help but redirect violence into learning, sharing, and caring for others. Captain Morgak raised one of his tentacles. But how is this possible? No species can evolve this quickly. Vexmiran's mechanical body turned toward him. Humans did not evolve naturally. They forced their own evolution through choice and will. They decided as a species to abandon violence, and their collective consciousness made it literally impossible. Dr. Nextril from the Korthak Empire asked the question everyone was thinking. Are you saying humans change the laws of physics around themselves? In a limited way, yes, Vexmiran replied. Their minds work together in ways we do not fully understand. When threatened, millions of human minds automatically cooperate to protect each other by making violence impossible. The aliens looked at each other with fear and confusion. They had thought humans were weak. Instead, humans had become something beyond their understanding. Physicist Bei Dong-hyun raised his hand politely. He was a middle-aged human man with glasses and a gentle smile. May I add something to this discussion? All eyes turned to him. The humans had been silent throughout the meeting, just listening and taking notes. We have known about your concerns for some time, Bei said calmly. We have been waiting for you to figure it out yourselves. Would you like some tea while we discuss this? The simple offer of tea in the middle of such a serious discussion was very human. It made several aliens laugh nervously. Commander Zixthul spread his wings. You knew we were testing you? Of course, Bei replied. We could sense your intentions, but we hoped you would eventually choose friendship over conquest. Admiral Park Seong-ho stood up next to Bei. He was the commander of Earth's Emergency Response Division, though most aliens had never heard of this organization. We call it the Emergency Response Division, Park explained, but we have not had a real emergency in over 100 years. Mostly we help alien visitors who get lost or have technical problems. Veltar from the hegemony leaned forward. You have been helping us? When your ships have problems near human space, who do you think fixes them? Park asked. When your weapons malfunction, who do you think adjusts reality to keep anyone from getting hurt? The aliens realized they had been thinking about this all wrong. They thought humans were hiding their defenses. In truth, humans had been protecting everyone, including the attackers. War Marshal Krikstal spoke for the first time. On Earth, your people fed my soldiers and asked about our culture. They treated us like honored guests even while we tried to conquer them. Because you were honored guests, said President Shinbo-ra, who had joined the meeting by video link from Earth. Any being who travels across space to visit us is welcome, regardless of their original intentions. But we came to destroy you, Krikstal said. We know, Bo-ra replied with a gentle smile, but destruction is not possible around humans anymore. So instead we offered you what we could give, food, friendship, and learning. Vexmiran activated another display. This explains why criminal organizations avoid human space. This explains why no one has ever successfully attacked a human world. Violence simply does not work against them. More than that, added Dr. No Sunmi, proximity to humans tends to reduce aggressive tendencies in other species. We have noticed that aliens who spend time around us become more peaceful and cooperative. This revelation shocked the Council. Humans were not just immune to violence, they were spreading their peaceful nature to others. Information broker Velnik spoke from his communication link. This information is worth more than anything I've ever sold, but I find myself not wanting to sell it to anyone who might misuse it. That is the human effect working on you, No Sunmi explained kindly. Exposure to our consciousness field tends to encourage ethical behavior. Bai Dong-hyun stood and walked to the center of the chamber. "We did not choose to become this way to protect ourselves from you," he said. "We chose this path because we learned that violence only creates more violence. We broke that cycle completely." "How?" asked Dr. Nextrill. "Through understanding that all consciousness is connected," Bay explained. "When we realized that harming others ultimately harms ourselves, our species decided to make harm impossible." Admiral Park spoke again. "We have been hoping that other species would reach the same understanding. We have so much to share: art, music, philosophy, technology that works for creation instead of destruction." "What kind of technology?" asked Commander Zixthal. "Technology that builds instead of breaks," Park replied. "Machines that heal damaged planets. Ships that explore safely. Computers that help species understand each other better." President Bora's image leaned forward. "But this technology only works for peaceful purposes. If someone tries to weaponize it, it simply stops functioning." The implications were staggering. Humans had developed beyond the need for weapons by making weapons useless. They had evolved past conquest by making conquest impossible. War Chief Brektor asked quietly, "What happens to warriors like us in a universe where violence does not work?" "You become something better," said No Sunmi. "You become explorers, teachers, builders, artists. You find purposes that bring joy instead of destruction." Krixtal looked at his hands. They had once been weapons of war. "I do not know how to be anything other than a soldier." "That is not true," Bay said gently. "On Earth, you ask questions about human culture. You listened to our music. You shared stories with our children. You already know how to be more than a warrior." The meeting continued for hours. Humans answered every question patiently and offered help to anyone who wanted to learn peaceful ways of living. As the council session ended, something remarkable happened. Species that had been enemies for centuries began talking to each other about cooperation instead of conquest. The Skarnathi asked the Korthak about sharing knowledge instead of stealing it. The Dominion of Thorns offered to help protect weaker species instead of conquering them. Veltar from the hegemony approached the human delegation. "Would Earth consider sending teachers to our worlds? We want to learn how to live without constant conflict." "Of course," replied Bae Donghyun. "We would be honored to share what we have learned." In the months that followed, everything changed. Alien species that had never known peace began to experience it for the first time. Wars that had lasted for centuries simply stopped as consciousness evolved beyond the need for violence. Trade replaced raids. Exploration replaced conquest. Art and science flourished as energy once spent on weapons was redirected toward creation and discovery. Earth became the center of a new kind of galactic civilization.